Hello everyone, I am Silva-Ponte, and today I'm going to answer the question, do we need religion to have morality? The short, simple answer would be no. We don't need religion to have morality. And the reason why is because we humans have the capacity to put ourselves in other people's shoes, which is called empathy. Let's say, for instance, in the case of murder. The reason why murder is wrong is because if I go out and kill someone, I would expect the loved one of that person to come back and kill me. Let's say I do not want to be murdered. If I don't want to be murdered, I shouldn't go out and kill people. Because how would you feel if someone comes back and kill you? You would not like that, right? If you don't want to be murdered, don't murder other people. Now, religious people might say, oh, that's just a matter of opinion. If there is a God, only then can morality be objective. It will not be opinion-based. Except that if God is the one that's determining morality, then morality will still be opinion-based. It will still be subjective because it's his opinion. Murder would only be wrong because God hates murder, for instance. This leads to a dilemma which is known as the Euthyphro dilemma. For those who don't know what the Euthyphro dilemma is, it's pretty much a dialogue between Socrates and Euthyphro. Euthyphro was defending the idea that morality comes from the gods that the Greeks worship. To which Socrates replied, is the pious loved by the god because it's pious? Or is something pious because it's love? In other words, does God command a certain action because it's good? Or is a certain action good because God commands it? There are some problems when it comes to these two scenarios of the Euthyphro dilemma. In the case of the first one, God commands a certain action because it's good. That would just simply make morality above God, because we wouldn't really need God for morality. So in the case of murder would always be wrong, even if God one day decides to tell people to go out and kill other people. In the case of the second scenario, a certain action is good because God commands it. That would just simply make morality based on what God likes or what God doesn't like. Like, for instance, in the case of murder, God will only forbid murder because he hates murder. Now let's say God didn't hate murder. If God didn't hate murder, then murder by definition would be morally acceptable, which is something that I doubt most people, even religious people, would accept. Now I've seen religious apologists such as William Lane Craig try to refute this dilemma by creating a third alternative. That being, God doesn't command a certain action because it's good, nor is a certain action good because God commands it. Instead, God commands a certain action because he is good, because his nature is good. Which doesn't really resolve the Euthyphro dilemma. Instead, the Euthyphro dilemma could be applied to God's nature. In other words, why is God's nature good? Is his nature good because he does good things? Or is God's nature good because he says so? Now, people might respond to that by saying that, oh, God by nature is compassionate, loving, kind, fair, etc. because he's portrayed like that in the Bible. Except that the Bible also portrays God as jealous, bloodthirsty, genocidal, tribalistic, etc. And they might respond by saying that, oh, there's no way God can be immoral by nature, such as 2 plus 2 will always equal 4 no matter what, even if you decide to change the symbols. Except that logic could also be applied if morality were independent of God, as the first scenario of the Euthyphro dilemma claims. Meaning that murder would still be wrong even if God decided one day to tell people to go out and kill other people, which is something that we see in the Bible. So just to recap, we don't need religion to have morality. Instead, all we need is empathy, the ability to put ourselves in other people's shoes. The problem with morality coming from God would be the Euthyphro dilemma. And that's the end of the video. Thank you.